This. Hello all. How y'all doing? Doubt anyone's actually turned up. I'm sorting out a housing bundle, I guess. As you can tell, I am very socially awkward, and honestly, I was hesitant to even do this live stream. Hesitant to even start it, as you can imagine. I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. Jeez. Right away, what I want to start up is, and I did start working on this before, but I noticed I made a couple mistakes. So I'm going to create a couple collections here. This is sort of individual segments or shared segments. By doing this, I can essentially have a set of collections or set of segments that would be shared across pretty much most of the assets. And then, of course, I want to create a collection. Let's call it segmented assets. Essentially, the separate elements. And then new complete assets. That's all of the models joined together for a given asset. So at least with segmented assets, I can go back to it. Now let's start off with shared segments. I do want to start by making a door. If I remember right, standard US wall thicknesses are about 10 centimeters to 15 centimeters, with the exterior wall being 15 to 25. I'm probably just going to stick with the 10 centimeter one. Okay, and no, since this is the exterior, it would make sense just to go for the full amount, but that's the troublesome part. I'm going to go for 10 centimeter thickness for walls, give or take, or assume it's 10 centimeters thickness, but the door thickness is typically roughly only about 3 centimeters, 3 to 4. I'll go for the 4 centimeter thickness. So, start off with Y at 4 centimeters. Then interior doors are commonly 76 centimeters or 81 centimeters by 2 meters. I'm gonna, for the sake of game design, go for 9 centimeters. Not 9 centimeters, 90 centimeters. With a 2.1 centimeter height. To me, that looks too thin. Like, it looks good for an interior door, but for an exterior door, it doesn't look amazing. And because exterior doors are what we're going for at the moment, I do want to sort that out. So, but it's the standard. Alright, I guess I'll stick with that. I'll go for 1 meter. 1 meter for the sake of game design aesthetics. And I'd say that looks good. And if I want to duplicate it, and let's go X, that'd be roughly the size of the double door. I've not really snapped its location, but looks good. So I am starting off with I should probably create a new collection inside. Door. Okay. Then I want to create the trim, which would be applied to pretty much anything. So single door trim and double door trim is what I want. Right, so I want to take the X. It would be just 50 centimeters either way. I'd probably go for minus 50 centimeters. Oh. Yeah, no, that's right, because that's the view from the front. Right, then I'd be able to duplicate this for the trim, but for now, what I want to go ahead and do is, since we're going single door, this can be just centered. Object, apply, all transforms. I'm just getting the general layout set up first for the doors. So mesh cube, and I want this thickness to be let me think. I believe the wall is 10 centimeters, but I want it to go a little bit further than that for the sake of aesthetics. As I'd want it to be extruded out a little bit past. So US wall thickness is roughly 10 to 15 centimeters for interiors, 15 to 25. I'm going to say 10 centimeters. No, that looks a bit thin. So 15. Alright, where is 15? 15 centimeters. Now let's keep it 10. Keep it 10. Now I'm designing it as if it would be used on interior to make things a bit easier for myself. Then I want to go ahead, since I'm doing a single door trim, I'll pop it here. The height is 2.1. I want it to be about 5 centimeters over that, so it's 215. Then I can just copy that, pop it in here, divide by 2. There we go. Now it should be in the general right location. Then I want to grab the thickness of this door. Maybe make the trim a bit thicker, actually. So up to 10 centimeters. So 1.1 here. Yeah, that's better, in my personal opinion. Then I want to take it to 1.1 centimeters width. 1.1 meters width, sorry. Give or take, that should do. Since it's applying to both sides, no, it should be a bit thicker. So 2.4. Oop. 1.2, sorry. There we are. That looks about right. Okay, that should give or take do. So then what I want to go ahead and do is delete these faces respectively. Add a modifier. Solidify. Even thickness. 10 centimeters. Give or take. Also, I want to make sure I'm applying scale to make sure everything's good. Yep, that's right. Then object apply scale here to make sure that's right. It would be nice to create a little bit of a gap. On top of that, from what I've seen, it should be offsetted a little bit. So I might reduce the thickness. 0.8 is, of course, not great. So that would create a bit of a gap for the door. And I'll try and go with this rule of thumb. That would create a small gap, which technically you could peek through. It would allow for a more hinged look. No. Because if I did that, that'd be problematic. If I go into wireframe here, for some reason this door's not high enough. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is correct this, which is set origin to geometry. Then I can take this, pop it in here, divide by 2, and that should correct its position. Yep, looks like it. Then I want to go ahead and apply this sort of change. So, solidify, apply. That should give a decent start for a door frame. Now, typically you'd offset this door to be a bit more inwards if you want it to open inwards, which is, by concept, what I'd want. With that offset, I'd like to create something, I guess. If I'm looking at my own door, yeah, I just noticed something, which is entirely on me. I would want to reduce this thickness by default by a little bit. So it is by 0.9. That would allow me to create a little bit of a trim where the door is. Oop. So yeah, I would like to apply this modifier here. Alright, create 2 cuts. Watch via side view, create this. In fact, one trick I could use is if I click on this edge here. Oh, sorry, go to the door actually. Let's see. Global. So that's the Xeon Global. Go on to the door trim. Actually, I'd want the Y first. Y first. So Control C the edge on the Y here, which is 0.02. Or it would actually depend where the door is. Once again, thickness, I'd want to bring it in a little bit. Not by too much though. Oop. It would be on the Y. There we are. Would it be better to move this? If so, I would move it, let's say, 2 centimeters forward. Maybe 3? Nah. Let's see, Y position. Because if I put 4 centimeters, as you can see, not ideal. Minus 2 centimeters. Yeah, that works. Using the door as a sort of centerpiece, and yep, door. Hey Sloth, how you doing? And of course I want to snap it to Y, just to get a general idea. What I want to go ahead and do is grab the Y on here, which is 0.02 as global. Select here, edit, click here, boom, that sorts that loop out. Then on this side, on this door, yep, it says the median is minus 0.02, which is actually about right. I should have mathed that. Would have been quicker to math it, but that's fine. Boom, that's roughly the thickness of the door. Now I want to run a quick extrusion. A nice clean extrusion, ideally. And I will extrude along normals. With that, I want to 0.1 it, or 0.01. Yeah, 0.01. Looks about right. 0.02 maybe? Or offset even. Yeah, then that double times it. Yeah, there we go. We're offset even. Yep, that's nice and clean. Nice and flush with the door. That's the trim done. That should be the door frame pretty much complete. At least for a single door. I'm just getting the general tools I want out of the way first, and seeing how well that goes. Because I'm going to be using these doors to make 2 houses. Well, actually, no, it'll be used on 4 buildings, specifically this door. Now, I am going to go ahead, duplicate this, right click, because now this trim is done, I can turn this off. I need a double trim. Which, actually, I could get away with something a little bit cheaty. If I duplicate this single door trim, don't you love the cheatiness? Because the door's width is 2.1. I can just duplicate that. Not 2.1. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, I was right, 2.1. Then I will click on the single door trim, duplicate it, drag it into here, edit. I want to go ahead and grab these faces. That's the median. Then with the median, I can, let's say, yeah, it would be subtract. I think that's a bit too wide because I grabbed the wrong attribute. That's why. It's just 1 meter wide. In that case, I just -1. There we go. Now, in theory, that should maintain the thickness of the frame. As I said, in theory. Then if I do duplicate this door, and then do the exact same thing, -1, it should line up with both the edge of the door and the new frame. So I'm going to hide this real quick. And as you can see, that's basically perfect. Don't you like being a bit cheaty? Because now I've got a double door. A nice, clean double door at that. Now I can get rid of this original door. Oof. Now I am going to just call this single door. Oh, yeah, no, just leave it as a door. This is an individual segment. I could turn it into a double door later. What I want to do with the double door, though, the double door trim, is object, set orientation, set origin to center, no, origin to geometry, and then copy this, paste this, divide by 2, and remember to minus it. Well, no, I could 0 this. What am I thinking? That's with the height I have to do that to make sure it's on grid. But no, that does it. Now I have a simple double door trim. Let's go ahead and start making cuts where needed, because you're not going to see the underside of the door, so you do not need the underside of the door. Next up, edge tool. I want this to be kind of clean essentially, so do this. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be this. And that would bring it all the way across there. I wouldn't actually need that last one because it's got no bottom. And players aren't going to see that 90% of the time. So I would have to create a cut here, I guess. Most likely. So that way it swings around that way. Oop, come on. So that'd fold up, that'd fold out onto this side. Though if I want the front view, it would actually be the other way around. Also, why is that there? No, that's actually fine. That should be good. Edges mark seam. So when I unwrap that, that should be a clean flip around there. Because these meshes are going to be reused a lot, the plan is to use GPU instance in. Or at least hope. It would use multiple materials, though I could go for a single material look. That is also an option. Different ways to do it, I suppose. I want to go for the trim next. Okay, what I want to go ahead and do is delete these bottom faces here, because once again, something that won't be seen. This could also be used for interior, I suppose, this store. So I'm probably going to keep this as a separate asset. Well, to be fair, kind of the whole point of the shed segments, isn't it? But yeah, that should clear up the bottom. And I will quickly do the same thing to the double door trim. Oop. Right, that should do the trick. It is asymmetrical, but that is typically how door trims are. Okay. Oop. I would like to create a cut here right away. Then I think if I create a cut here, that way it kind of unwraps cleanly, I hope. Edges, mark seams. I do want to kind of test with this one. So if I go into UV editing, UV unwrap angle base, I just want to see it, you know, unwrap cleanly. Looks like it unwraps cleanly. It does create a bit of a diagonal though, which is generally not ideal. Not for me personally. And that diagonal is created from here. From this specific section. Though at the same time, I guess it kind of works. Yeah, I can leave that be, I think. And I think something identical the other side as well. Double door trim. Edit. Or object. Edit. Once again, cut here, and create a cut right at that seam there. Alright, edges mark seam, and that should do it. Though, one thing I've just realized, is I could just do what I've been doing before for the buildings, to be fair, and have it all on one UV map. And just adjust the texture that way. Though I will say it looks a lot cleaner if it was across multiple materials. The texture wouldn't have to be as large, but then you're also loading multiple textures at the same time. So yeah, I think I'll do it my normal way. But that works overall. That's the trims ready to go. Then ideally I would like an actual door, maybe with a steelish look handle. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add mesh cylinder. I want to reduce the vertices to 12, make it none on n-gons. Radius, maybe 2 centimeters. I mean, it doesn't have to be super realistic, but yeah, let's go 40 centimeters, 4 centimeters thickness of the wall to get a good grip. Okay, so I'd like to go 2 centimeters like that. If I went for 4 centimeters, would that be satisfying? I think that'd satisfy the criteria. And then I would like to set this to 5-ish. Alright, that's a good starting point. Roughly it's halfway up the door, so I'm going to set the height to 1.1. Do a rotation on the X, let's say 90 degrees. Oop. Yeah, no, that's not quite right. Twice set it to X, not Y. There we are. Maybe a little bit thicker than that. But yeah, it would be towards your right hand, it looks like. Typically. So yeah, I'd say a little bit thicker. Yeah, that looks good. Oop, only one loop at a time. Face, grid fill. Face, grid fill. Oop. Select both of this in set. Where is the inset? Here we are. .02, that's a bit too small. Oop, that's preferable. Can't do individual. Outer would be hilarious. Outset would be hilarious. Ooh, doesn't look like it'd be all that great. Looking at it. And the problem lies in that it doesn't do all faces. And even if I do relative, it's not enough. Which is troublesome. What I would... wish I could scale the inner faces. You can fit the depth. That's handy. Edge row, once again, is not worth it. Okay, I might just have to do this and scale it, see how that goes. Oop. That's not bad. But I think 2.5 might be better. That looks fine. Okay. Come out with that. Then extrude. Once again, along normals. I want it to be out small, not amazingly massive. Then the trick I'm going to use here is delete faces and just create a sphere to pop on the end of that. With a radius of roughly the same as the base. So UV sphere. Or would it be better to add a different kind of sphere? Isosphere would not be ideal. UV sphere would be, but what I kind of like to do is create a cube with what I want, but there's a couple of ways I can go about this. Once again, 12 segments, and I want it to be 12 rings. Then radius 0.02 would be 2 centimeters. I think that's ideal. I'm not after the snapping at the moment. Then what I can kind of do is go ahead and select this. Copy its current Y and X. Its Y is apparently 0. Shouldn't be. Oh, Z. Z, Z, Z. Okay, that's awkward. I guess we're relying on edge snapping then, aren't we? Oh, oop, didn't mean to do that. If I do a quick rotate, select here and set it to just 90 degrees, either way works. Then what I can do is go ahead and snap to edges. Yep, that's about right. Then I want it to snap to that center edge ideally. Bring it down. I mean, if the Y is 0, median, then that'd make sense. There we go. Then X would also be 0 by that logic. Yeah, that works. Yeah, it looks a bit too small in comparison to the rest. So I'd want to scale that up a bit. I'd say to about there. Yeah, that works. Simple handle. And I'd like to try and get this as close to this as possible. Oop, on the y-axis. Then what I can do is delete those back faces here, and because of the way I've got it designed or set up, or select these faces here, delete faces, I can then do this, vertex merge nearest, and start scaling it outwards. There we are. That does it. Simple handle. I'm most likely going to be ending up unlisting the VOD. Now what I can go ahead and do, let's make this easier for myself. Create a cut here. Face select. Wireframe view would be best. Thought I created the cut in the middle. Apparently I didn't. There we go. Then I can just delete this. Object select. Add mirror on the Y, I believe it is. Is it Z? Yep, Z. Okay, there we go. Now I can go ahead and just hit apply here. And I can start rounding things off. Most of this I would want shaded smooth, with some exceptions. So what I can go ahead and do is select here, edges, mark sharp. Same here and here, edges, mark sharp. Nope, not mark seam, mark sharp. There we go, there we go, and there we go. Edges, mark sharp. And this needs to be shade smooth. That'll do it. Now, I want to get rid of this center edge here, because it's now become unnecessary. And that's just dissolve edges. Now what I could do is I could create a cut and just delete the center edges. It'd still be the same number of edges either way. And just be smaller. I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. It'd be the same number of edges either way. Actually, in hindsight, I should probably have kept the mirror. And I want to snap to faces. So in that case, do this, single cut. Or no, two cuts, keep the two cut. Or I could just bevel this edge. Bevel would work as well. And I could kind of try and get exact. 0.15, I think, maybe. Oop, that was not what I wanted, apparently. 0.02, no. So I was right, 0.015. Not quite. 6? I mean, it's closer. What I can just go ahead and do now is edges and have it snap to that. Snap to here. And that should do the trick. Now I'll correct the mistake I made before. And delete all this. Then I can just apply a mirror. Apply. I think what I'm going to start doing is applying all transforms now. I want to drag this into here. Handle. Add mirror. Not what I want. I want to apply it there. Yep, there we go. That's what it's meant to be. A simple turn handle. Kind of want to make another adjustment. Just personally. Oop. Don't want snapping at the moment. There's a slight adjust. I kind of want this to come inwards a bit. Kind of like that. Then expand out and bring this in a little bit. Kind of like that. I think that just looks nicer. And it applies on the other end because I've got the mirror modifier. Then what I can go ahead and do is edges. Let's say I mark sharp here. I personally like that look. That's a good handle. Okay, let's start working on this. Also, I want this to be the main door. Apologies for the volume. My family likes to be loud. I want to mark seam here and here, along with here. Then I can bring, actually maybe under the underside, it'd be less noticeable then. And since this would be a fairly solid color anyway, mark seam, there we go. And that's the handle done. What a nice looking door. Right, next up I would want the windows, and I want this to be single door trim. Single door trim. Oh, sorry. Double door trim. The door would most likely be separate from the body. So that way you can turn it on and off, you can rotate it, just choose what you want to do with it, really. I think actually what I'm going to go ahead and do with these trims and with the door The door, first things first, I want to grab its width, which is 1 meter, offset to 0.5. This way it'd be easier to rotate for an animation. The trim I could keep centered like this, honestly. Handle, right. Before I forget handle, I would like to offset as well. Object, apply all transforms. Then I could just pop this where it needs to go. Same with this, that way I can just rotate this. If I really want to open it that way. Though it would look nice with a hinge, though most of the time it will just vanish. Just thinking for those who want to open it that way. But yeah, I think that works. So I can just pretty much turn off the door. And the trims. Next would be a simple window. Looking around, I'd say 1.5 centimeters, give or take. So that'd cover about half a wall, which is about right, looking at it. Okay. So, once again, right click, new. This will be a standard window. Square window, just for the sake of it, in case I do a hobbit door. Nah, regular, just keep it like this. Okay, cube, 1.5, 1.5. Then the thickness, a little bit thicker than the wall. Because I'd want it to kind of be dual in case you're doing an interior design. At the same time, because that door makes sense. Window wouldn't really keep in motion. You'd want to keep it aligned. But now I'll run it as a whole. Thickness. You know what? It'd be 2 centimeters out as a base. Thickness wise. I say that's good personally. So then I want to go on to y minus 0.1. Oh, sorry, not minus 0.1, 0.01. Then I want to go ahead and delete this back face because it will never be seen. I'll handle the materials later. I just want to get the models themselves done first. Then let's go inset face. Let's go 0.02 again. Maybe a bit thicker than that. Let's go 5 centimeters. Not even then, that's... Looking at my own window, in comparison, that's a bit too thick. So yeah, I'm gonna go to 5. That's fine. This is the outdoor look, so I'm not particularly fussed about making it super thick right now. Then what I want to go ahead and do is create a cut here, select these faces. I could go bevel instead, but I'd rather inset individual. Actually, that's something I could have done instead. Hold on. You know what? 0.05, why not? I needed to do that with individual. Yep, I goofed. Okay, let's adjust the thickness. 0.05. That's a little bit better, I think. Then 5. Edit. Cut here and here. Inset here, and here. Not bevel, inset. Individual. 0.005. Extrude along normals. Honestly, that's not too bad, but let's go 0.5 on here. It shouldn't be in meters, frankly, but, you know. That was accidental. Now I've got to inset it again. Done. Individual. 0.05. Done. That works fine for me. Then this. Bring it in. Side view. Minus 1.5, I think it was. Let's say 1. Yeah, that's a bit better, I think. Offset even. Okay, let's go for that. I want to object apply all transforms. I would love to bevel that edge, but that's the awkward thing. Unless I can do it in a certain way, it's not ideal. I could just do that. Yeah, no, that'd create that, which is not what I want to do. Okay, have to use the knife. The idea is I would create a cut here, cut on the other side to make it clean. So vertex mode, cut on this point. It would be nice if I could keep it straight. It's not like I can snap it to grid. Not what I wanted to do. Snap. Grid. Let's give that a go. Yeah, I didn't think so. Worth a shot. I guess I'll have to do it the awkward way. Which is with this one, I want to copy the Z global. That way I can just do this and this. This one, I want to copy the X. Don't know why that's not done that properly, but okay, I guess I'll just force a vertex merge. Do not snap. There we go. Anyway, pop the X here. Pop the X here. There we go. Edge loop. I want to dissolve this one. Make sure there's not multiple faces here. That's a concern for me. I had a feeling. Oh, apparently that's not wrong. That's not right. I have to delete face. There we are. Yeah, no, that's right. Then what I can go ahead and do is temporarily object apply all transforms. Then I can just do this, and instead of having to do all that painful math, I can just hit object, apply modifier, mirror. There we go. And let's just hit apply. That will allow a clean extrusion for the lower section. Except here. But this one's a lot easier to sort out. Don't really need wireframe view for this, just a clean view. Cut. Using knife. Boom. Then edge select. Dissolve edge. Dissolve edge. Looking at this, I'm seeing an issue right away. I need to create cuts here. Might as well go ahead. Vertex mode. Boom. This one I need to copy the X again. And this would just be a minus on here. Front view. Vertex knife. Then I can just select here, done. Select here, done. That should do the trick. Always maintain clean topology whenever working on stuff like this. It is your friend. Then what I can go ahead and do, come on, I'm not after transform, I'm trying to select faces here. There we are. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. That done, extrude normals, and I want to determine the thickness I want. Apparently this is, that's 1 meter, yeah, that's right. That's 1 centimeter. Which once again seems about right. I kind of want it to be 10 centimeters. So if I want to put a plant pot here, I can. Or I can put any flowers on here. And I'd say that works. That's ideal. Then, as is appropriate, actually, to be fair, I think leaving it like that would be fine. It's not like we're snapping it to a lower ledge or anything, so object apply all transforms. And I want to set this to window. Oh, jeez. Stretching hard. Those are the primary tools I think we're going to be using, at least for the base. So that being the case, add mesh cube. I want it to be roughly 7 meters by 5 meters, I think. Come on, item, cube. Speaking of, where is that cube? Here we go. This is in segmented assets. New. This would be rectangle house. Then on the x-axis, I would like it to be 7 by 5. There would be a meter door here. Maybe make it a bit larger. Then with the thickness being about 10 centimeters, assuming. It would be about 6.1. Then there would be a roof up here, which I can deal with later. So yep, I would like to bring this up. Object apply all transforms. With that, I want to create a cut down the center, then bevel it. Where is it? 0.05. That's about right. That would be roughly the floor for the building. Right away, I would like to know what I would like the trim to be. So I am going to extrude out. I'm gonna say maybe 5 centimeters. Definitely definitely not 50. Now I'm gonna say that works. Actually, it should be a little bit smaller than the window, so I'm gonna say 2, maybe 3, 2.5, 2.5. Nah. Yeah, let's go 3. Then I want to select this face, delete because it's not going to be used. Then this face I also want to extrude up by 10 centimeters. The window I think I'm going to keep separate. The doors I'm going to keep separate. I kind of want to double up on this export, but you know. Then I want to bring this up once again by 3 meters. In this case though, I want to scale it in Word, I don't want to merge the vertices in this case. I want it to be relatively clean. 0.3, 0.3. Yep, there we go. That way I can bring this in. Let's set a thickness of 5 centimeters. With that done, I can bring that in and extrude these out. Or just extrude these out. That'll do it, honestly. Yeah, let's just extrude all these out. .05, 5 centimeters, give or take. That looks generally good. Maybe have that be a little more out than just the support beams for aesthetic. So let's go 10 centimeters, 0.1. I don't think that's too bad. Then I need to work out with the door how thick it needs to be, so let's go ahead and duplicate the door and duplicate the single door trim I want. Or maybe have it a double trim. So we just need to duplicate the double trim, really. So let's go ahead, select here, duplicate the trim, snap to faces. Give or take that. What's its thickness? Because I'd like to cut it in half, roughly. Actually, to be fair, I do want to keep the full thing. This is just a measuring point for me at the moment. Actually, no, it would be a part of the main model. So segmented rectangle house. Boom. I want this to be walls. It's the door that wouldn't be a part of it. Come on. Give me a general idea here. I mean, one thing I'm thinking of doing is separating this out a little bit. So, by creating a split with these, any cuts I make on the lower end won't impact the upper. So, faces. Or mesh. Split selection. There we go. So that way when I'm modifying this section, it won't impact. When I modify this section, it won't impact. When I modify this, it won't impact. And I would actually like to separate this section as well. Mesh, split, selection. There we go. That's ideal for me, personally. Going back to object. I think I had it set to 10 centimeters. Not 10 centimeters, 2 centimeters or something like that. In comparison. So what I'd like to do is with y minus 0.02 or plus, I guess. Yeah, that works. That way what I can do is I can create a couple cuts here. I'll just create a single cut, and it would be 1.1 centimeters through a bevel. Give or take, that should be right. Then I want to create a cut with the right height. I kind of want it to be exact. 2.2, okay. Then with this edge, it'd be 2.2 here. Someone I know would really find this infuriating. Then I kind of want to bring it in 1 meter for a loading zone. So -1. No, that wouldn't be right. That's -2.25, so that's -1.5. There we go. That's about a meter in. Then I want to delete this lower section here. Then what I can just go ahead and do is cut these two to mark seams. Then I want to create a cut back here to mark a seam. Same up here. That at the very least should be the least noticeable. Okay. I'm just trying to think what to do here, because that is pretty much what I wanted. Layout wise, I would want to pop up a couple windows up here, pop a couple windows down here. So let's go ahead with that. Because I won't be needing these anymore. I want to duplicate the window if possible. If it'll let me. Sometimes you have to actually click on it like this. There we go, there's the duplication. Now, in this case, I do want it to snap to faces. it out, come on. Okay, it doesn't seem to want to play nice, so I think what I'm going to have to do is bring it far out, then back inward. I think that's about right. Double check. Bring it out, then bring it in. Yep, that's about right. Then I kind of want to center it. Its height by default is 1.5, so I think that'd give me 1.5 to work with. So 0.75 in height. Because it's not 7.5, that would definitely be too high. That'd put it on the floor. If it was 1 meter, not nearly high enough. So 1.75? 1.75, okay. That's ideal. Now I can create an array modifier. Something I've just realized with the window, and this is entirely my mistake. I forgot to cut the seams for it. Easy fix, so for now I will hide that. Edit. Select the edges here for the window panes because they would be a completely different look from the other sections. Actually, something I could try, just select the faces themselves instead of the edge loops, edges, mark seams. There we go, that's perfect. Then what I would like to do is mark seam. I would like to mark seam right at the bottom here, actually. So right here, so cut off this corner here. And that is edge mark seam. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is create a cut here. Cut here. And because of the way it's been cut, that would actually attach to that, and that's problematic. Maybe better to cut like this. So this bottom section appends up here. Yeah, that would personally be preferable. So that would flip up there, give or take. Yeah, I think that works, because then this side section would be on its own. What I would like to do is mark seams on these corners here. One problem I see is this overlapping this frame. So I'm going to go ahead and just select these corners pretty much. Edges, mark seam. That just seems like it's what would be the cleanest in my personal opinion. Then I can clear these edges, or actually I can keep those two, because that way those roll out cleanly. Then I will once again select these. Edges mark seam. That flatten out that. And that should do it. That should do it. And just to make sure, UV unwrap angle. And that's fairly clean. That is a very clean UV. Hurrah! Hurrah! Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit save with what I've got currently. Now I will turn this back on. Duplicate this. Make sure it's only along the y-axis, about here. 1.75 up in height. Oop. Bring it along here. I think with this one it'd be good to mirror it. At the same time, I would kind of like to get the distance about right. So I can just duplicate it up here. So I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Because that is about right. Yeah, that was appended correctly. I want to go ahead and drag this into the rectangle house. Add, or, yeah, that's right. Add array. Then it's a question of how much distance would I want between them, which would be best if I did this. Bring that as close to 0 as I can. Oh, I think the trick I could use here is, once again, -2. I'm just trying to set a decent location. And -2 looks like it'd work, but it's not close enough to one edge for me. So 0.25 maybe? 0.25 works. Then I could roughly get this aligned to the grid and then sort that out. Because it definitely isn't 1.5, is it? Yeah, no, it's 1.6. 1.7? 1.6, 1.7 are both too far along, so 1.65. Apparently that's too little as well. 6.75? So close. So close. That's the question, isn't it? Because it's so close. Seven five is too far. 7 is too far, but 6 no. 665, 666, 667, maybe. Almost. Or if I was to do it offset instead of relative, would that be better? Because then it's exactly in meters. Then how far is the window away from the center? It's 2.5, so 2.5 should be exactly right. Yes, hurrah. Okay, good idea. I had a decent idea. Yay. Then I want to apply a mirror, but I want it to specifically apply along the Y. That way it applies kind of like that. Oh, it's kind of wrong. So apply location. If I do that, yep, that's right. Then what I can go ahead and do is duplicate this and bring it down. I want to reduce it by -3, 1. And that looks good to me, height-wise. It's fairly clean. Then what I can do is add a support beam above, under, and around. Though what I might go ahead and do is bring them across a bit. Kind of like about here. Object apply all transforms. Then what I can go ahead and do... wouldn't be right, actually. 2 centimeters. It's just getting a good look for me. Then what I can do is set origin to geometry. Or if I keep it there, I can just get the X. In theory, anyway. Yeah, 2.3 would be good. Yeah, that looks right. Yep, that's right. Hurrah. Alright. Duplicate. Right click. Set the Z to -1, sorry, 3.1. Yep, that's right. Then, instead of having this array, I can remove it. And apply the mirror on X. That's good to me. Because this model is being reused a lot, I could just leave it as is, but I think I'm going to apply different materials to it. That way, it's a lot easier to customize, I suppose. At the same time, if I want to keep it to the same theme, I might as well make it harder to customize. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, frankly. Okay. Set origin to geometry. I want to 180 this and 0 it out on Y. Oh, no, 180, 90 degrees it. Minus. At the same time, it might be nicer to have this the way it is on only one side. Have it mirror on the other. Only have this mirror on the other. On the upper end. So plus 3.5. Oop. On the Z. Not 3.5, 3.1. Then if I was to apply that, apply the location to that object, apply all transforms, add mirror on X, yep. Then what I would do is create a window texture, a door texture or door frame texture. Then have it so the walls would be their own thing, the supports would be their own thing. It would allow for a bit more customization as well, I think. At the same time, if I want to change the window color scheme, it's how customizable do I want to make it for people? Because the more customization, the more work it is for UV mapping. But at the same time, if I already have a trim ready, that's not too bad. And what isn't nice about Blender is you can't join them with the materials. Okay, should be good. In that case, windows appear to be fine. I'm thinking of having a decorative door on the side, but now I think I'll keep it like this. And yeah, I think I'm happy with this. Though at the same time, I could just... Nope. Nope. This is fine. This is fine. Externally, this looks nice. Yeah, this will do. Right, the walls will be occupying the same material. No, no, they won't. No, they won't. I'll put these all on the same material. On the same UV map. No, no, no. Then that's just a waste of resources. I think I'm happy with it, how it's turned out, honestly. Okay. The walls, regardless, need to be proportionate with each other, in my personal opinion. So those will occupy the same UV map. But then, I really am conflicted. I really am. What do I want to do here, honestly? Because I remember this needing to be done. I just noticed a mistake, and I am not happy about it. This wasn't extruded properly. Now, the way I can get away with this is actually quite easy. Except it would be a massive mistake. Okay. At the very least, I know how I can get I can know how I can sort it out. Because what I can do is I can quickly do this. Faces, grid fill. That's easy. Then extrude up by 10. 0.1. Then extrude up by 3 meters. Scale this in 0.3. Less than that, 0.1. Yeah, 0.1. Then I want to go ahead and separate this out. So mesh, split, selection. Then I would ideally like to inset these. Yeah, 0.1 to do it. And this time make sure I'm selecting all the edges. That should, nope, top one here, not selected. Extrude out by 0.05. That should match up fine. Yeah, that works. Except I see an issue here. So yeah, 0.05, make sure it's offset even. That's what I wanted. Then I want to select these sections up here and these selections here. Mesh, split, section. And that'll be a nice and clean adjustment. I just saw a issue with the windows. because the back here doesn't line up with here, so I might as well not mirror Y here and instead duplicate. Because now what I can do is move it down by 3.1. Once again, remove this. Ooh. Yeah, not remove this, but rotate it by 180. On the Z, 180. That's better. Object, apply all transforms. In this case, minus. There we go. And that does it. Ugh, jeez. The window has already been test UV mapped, so I don't really have to worry about that. Because if I hit edit UV mapping and all that, yeah, that works out cleanly. Yep. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Oof. I might readjust it, to be honest. Oh, I'm seeing an issue down here. There's a joint. Yeah, I'm going to remove the windows for the time being. I can add those later. I've also remembered something about the door frame, but honestly, it's fine. Actually, to be fair, I could just go ahead, delete that, and make the adjustment to the main door frames. But at the same time, I don't know how far along that's going to be in hindsight, so I should just leave it as is. The clipping faces here aren't really going to be visible to players. I think what I could do to save faces, though, is remove these. So yeah, let's make an adjustment to the trims. So hide that, hide this, let's open the trims up. Because these aren't realistically going to be visible, except, hold on, I just realized something. They might end up being. Yeah, they probably will. Oh, okay, just leave it be. Leave it be. Realistically, that'd only be if it's internal, but I might want to reuse these doors, that's the thing. And door trims. Do I? That is the question, do I? I mean, instead what I could do is I could just sort of grid fill the faces, so there's still at least less. Because those are really interior faces. And dissolving them may cause issues with topology. I'll leave it be. I should leave it be. It's the windows that I should worry more about. But then the UV map as well. I don't think I'm just gonna have it customizable, honestly. I could create variants for it, but I don't think it'd be a good idea at this point to have it customizable. Okay. I think that's settled, so let's... I'm pretty sure I can just bring in the windows again. Yep, I can. Yeah, I think that's good. In that case, the window's already UV mapped. The frame is already UV mapped, I believe. Just double check that. No, it is not. Okay, because it's its own thing. What I think I'm going to go ahead and do is just do this. Delete this trim, select here, Control A, UV editing, UV unwrap angle based. Yep, that's fine. Then save that. Object mode, single door trim, and I've already got the single door trim sorted out, so that's good. That's good. Okay. Then Control C, Control V. Or don't even Control C yet, Control V yet. Don't need to look at that, just need to duplicate this. Then what did I set the width to here again? I set it to 5, I believe. So all I have to do is add 5 to the Y. Or subtract 5. Or just set it to 5. Nah. Right, half that. So 2.5. There we go. Right, what I want to go ahead and do is object apply all transforms with this, actually. That'd be ideal. So open this up. Object apply all transforms. Duplicate. Drag this into the house. That works actually fairly well. Unintentionally, but I'll take it. That's ideal, I think. That is genuinely ideal. So then I want to apply materials to them. Add single door trim or door trim. Material. Add new material. Gave it a moment. Come on. Come on. Fight through it. There we go. single door trim underscore material. Single door trim underscore material. Single door trim underscore mesh. All right. Double door trim underscore mesh. Underscore mesh. New material. Material. That should do it. Then door. I want to adjust the door. Let's go ahead and start making adjustments to the door. This needs to be dragged in here. That's why. Come on. There we go. At the very least, these will make it a bit more uniform. Make the doors similar. Oop. Okay. The handles are fine. I want the door itself as well. Edit, okay, I've already got the seams sorted out for here. Then I want the handle. Edit, I've marked the seams here. Okay. What I want to go ahead and do is with both these selected, object, edit, Control A, UV editing, UV unwrap, angle based. There we go, that'll do. I just realized a mistake. I forgot to add the padding, like I normally do. And that includes for the windows. This is why you make sure of everything. Pack islands, no rotation, 0.01. Pack. Actually, UV align rotation. Then pack. That'll do. Okay. That's the door sorted. A, do this. UV, align rotation, UV, pack islands, done. Save. Okay, continue on with that saved. Do this, do this. The double's what I need right now. So that's the one that needed biggest correction. UV, unwrap, angle base, UV, align rotation and UV pack islands. That's just my personal preference. Most of this is all lined up anyway. I think the pack island needs a bit of adjustment. 0.05 I think it was is my normal. Yeah, 0.05. Okay. Object, edit, Control A, UV, pack islands, pack islands. Object. Door. I want both of these. Edit, Control. Not turned on, are they? Okay, back to object mode. Edit, Control A, UV, unwrap. Not unwrap, pack islands. There we are. That's better. That just makes it easier to texture for me later down the line. Okay, with that done, I also want to adjust the windows while I'm at it. But because it's the same object, theoretically, can't help but say that. If I just hit pack islands, it should be fine. If with all of them. Okay, make sure I'm in object mode, because this needs to be turned on. Edit, okay. UV. Pack islands. It's the same algorithm, so it should work out the same, theoretically. Okay. Let's go ahead and turn these off. I'm going to delete that and I'll pop that back into place later. UV, pack islands, scale. It should math it out the same, but it looks like it hasn't. Because if I go into UV edit mode, object, clicking on this window, then click on this window. Oh, never mind, it has mathed it out the same. Good, that's how it's meant to be. Edit, Control A, UV, pack. Yep, that's right. Edit, UV, pack. Yep, that's exactly the same. Last but not least, this set here. Edit, Control A, UV, pack islands, done. There we go. All right. And instead of having multiple material slots, since these textures would only be used for the houses, yeah. Okay. So I want this to be window underscore mesh. Window underscore mesh. New window underscore material. Then what I can do is I could select all of these, add material slot. I hope that's added it to them all. Window. No, but it hasn't, so I have to do it all manually, but that's fine. Add window. Add window. Add window. Then rectangle house underscore mesh underscore mesh new rectangle house wall underscore material. Then I would also like to add another new loading zone underscore material. Because that is going to be shared. Then what I'm going to go ahead and do is hit edit, select these faces, and assign loading zone. Now, I want to duplicate this, or actually, hold on, UV unwrap it first, but it's best if I make some seams. Particularly with these faces, I want to mark seams, so edges, mark seams. It would be nice if this went all the way around, but I doubt it. Yeah, I didn't think so. Because these will be the shingles, pretty much. Edges, mark seams. Actually, no, that's already separated. What am I doing? That doesn't need marking seams, and that shouldn't either. Because if I select this face and try and press the arrow, yep, that's right, that's good. So that's on its own. So right away, I want to sort of make seams here. Honestly, that kind of works. Yeah, that works. Okay. Oh, don't tell me. Don't do this. Okay, so that is on its own, but for some reason hasn't popped up cleanly. That's something I would like to know what caused it. Oh, it's probably the snapping, isn't it? So what I can do to fix that, I think, is plus 0.05. I think that should do the trick. Yeah, that does it. Looks like it does it. But is that twisting? Hold on. That looks like it's twisting to me. When it shouldn't. That's annoying. Trying to get the other vertex, not this one. That's infuriating. Because that just means I'm gonna have to redo the top again. Delete faces. Select here. Extrude. 0.1. That's right. Don't know why that's doing that. But I can work with it, it's fine. And this needs to be 3 meters. Faces, grid fill, scale in. Select these, insert, boom, even, 0.1. Extrude along normals. For some reason that isn't flat. Offset even. Yep, that is about right. A lot better, in my personal opinion. 0.05. That always creates a slant there of the shingles. That's a problem. The only thing I can reliably think about doing to fix that Oh, that's not ideal. What if I do this? Object apply all transforms. Maybe that'll sort it out, but I doubt it. Because the only other thing I can think about doing is extruding it slightly and then scaling out, but that would not be ideal either. I mean, I could inset that or friggin' scale these in instead to give it the illusion, but honestly, I wouldn't be happy with that. What if I was to scale it with that in mind? No, because then that still creates that issue. The only thing I can reliably think of is... also, I suppose I should do that. Separate this out. Oh, mesh. Split selection. The only thing I can reliably think of working is if I did that. Create a seam across there. But if I hit normals, why is that off? Those normals seem off to me. Because if I move that, that looks fine. Ish. That's fine. Because if I extrude here, yeah, that's fine. But for some reason, if I include these two edges, it does that. It seems like the pinching is coming from there being that, effectively. So yeah, the only real thing I can think of is if I create a cut along there, then remove that cut later. Or what if I go ahead and separate this face right now? Not separate, split. Because then if I... And then of course split this as well. This is just an idea and I'm hoping it works. But I am sadly very skeptical. Yeah, it still creates that pinch. And that's where I'm a bit confused. Because then the only thing I can think of doing is squaring these edges off. I'll give it a go. I doubt it'll fix it, but I can hope. Kind of. So I would need the knife tool. Go into vertex. Then I want to copy this Y and pop it here. Then copy this one Z and paste it here. Then dissolve this. Now I want to see if it still creates the pinch. No, it still creates an issue. Even if I offset even, it still creates an issue. Which is why I'm confused. Well, then that creates an angle on there as well, which isn't great. Actually, I think that works. Offset even. Is there a better option here? Because extrude normal isn't ideal, isn't working cleanly. Extrude region definitely won't be nice. Insert outset is not ideal. Because it's not as if I could suddenly do this, set this to 0, and then set the depth to 1 meter or something. I wish that would work cleanly. That create a try if I do it that way. Oh, that's the problem. It is difficult. What if I hold on? What if I was to dissolve these edges first, real quick? Is that why? Don't tell me I'm that dumb. I'm gonna delete these. Sorry, delete faces. I'm gonna grid fill this. Delete this face. And grid fill this. Now go ahead and hit dissolve edges. Same here. Because if this works, this be a lot more ideal. This might work. If it doesn't, I could separate into a different object temporarily, then apply the solidify modifier. That could work. Extrude along normals. Yeah, I think a solidify might be the best option. So yeah, I think I'm going to run the separate again. Yeah, for some reason that has worked a heck of a lot cleaner. Except right there. Actually, that would make sense. Don't tell me. I may have just realized what I'm doing wrong. And I may have been spot on. Knife, vertex. This will hurt my soul if I was right. There we go. Hmm. The problem is I don't really want the pinch that this is causing. Though it could be in my head. Oh, it's because there's not a cut there. That's what's doing it. It's because there's not a vertical cut. Easy way to fix that, actually. Okay. All I'd really have to do is rejoin these and offset this. Mesh. Merge. By distance. Or I could just control A. Mesh. Merge by distance. Yeah, that would pretty much fix it. So I just need to select the sections that I want. Mesh. Merge by distance. 0.0001. There we go, that'll do it. Then I would like to inset these faces as well. .1. That should do it. Then mesh, separate, or split selection. Then I should be able to select the borders here, and that should result in a cleaner one. Yeah, that's a bit better. Offset even. 0.05. That's better. That is a lot better. It was awkward, but I got it done. I should probably put some supporting slats down. Which I can do by selecting this. Duplicate along Z, pop this here. Duplicate again, pop this here. Then I should be able to just add a cube. Make it 0.05. Snap to face. Actually, I would like to separate this, so mesh, separate selection. I want to delete these faces respectively. There we go. I think I need to reduce this width. I'll reduce it on the Y. 0.02. I'll probably do this first. What was it against the origin? Origin to geometry. There we go. Edit mode. There we are. There we are. Let's check these. Okay, translation 2.3M. Add array 2.3M. Let's set this to minus. We'll make it 4. No. Let's make it 2. Yeah, 1.6, sure. Then add another array. Yeah, 3 will do. Offset. That's 2.6. That's 2.5. 2.4 maybe. 2.3. Yeah, that's good. Or if I was to create a bit of a bigger distance, say not 3.2, 3.1. Yeah, let's apply 3.2, sure. Honestly, I think I'm happy with that. Then if I Control C, Control V it. We just hit. Click on it, Control Duplicate. 180. Well, really, I don't even need this array. Minus 90, I think. Yeah, that's right. There we are. Then if I was to bring it near the window, just an idea. I was hoping I could get a decent idea for the distance, but guess not. Maybe grab its width. Grab its dimensions, paste into Y. because zeroing it out is pointless. Right, I suppose it would technically be the Y, wouldn't it? Not the Y thickness. Because it would be on the x-axis, so if I paste that... Set that to minus. I think that works. At the very least, it works as a decent support. Yeah, I'll take it. Maybe if I take a look over here. Might have to call it in a minute. Alright, I need to add a mirror to both of these. This one needs to be along Y. This one I need to object, apply, not all transforms, object, apply rotation. I thought I zeroed this out. And this one's in the positive. Alright, got it. Add mirror. Mirror is useless here. Object, apply all transforms. Add mirror along Y. Yeah, that's about the best I can do, isn't it? Okay, I think this is what I'm going to call it. Thanks for those who have watched. I will try and edit this into a video at some point. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.